We are live. What's up, everyone? This is your boy Julian with Clout Finder, and I'm here with the amazingly talented Brittany Mason. Hey, Brittany, how are you doing today?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. See, one thing I'm so excited about, doing these conversations is, we haven't even you're a talent, you're a model, but we're also actually friends, and I haven't seen you in so long. So it's just so amazing to see you again and hop in. Just for everyone who's going to be watching this who doesn't really know much about you, what you do, how would you describe yourself as a creative?
I'm currently a model and content creator.
Okay, got you. So is that modeling in like print,
Mhm.
runway? What are the different lanes you
Um,
like to dabble in?
Primarily beauty and commercial. Not so much
Hmm.
runway because those typically don't have a budget for the models.
Really?
Yeah, no.
All right, we're gonna have to talk about that in a second because that's surprising. But you said print and
Mhm.
commercial, so that's
Mhm.
where the money's at.
Yes.
Okay. So how did you kind of get started on your journey and what did that look like? How did Brittany become a model, I guess?
It was tough. I think well, growing up, like most people that wanted to do this, someone told them, "Hey, you should model," and obviously, like, I didn't know how to do that, so that didn't happen.
Mhm.
Um, then at the end of high school, when you have your senior photos, that was my first like photo shoot, and I was like, oh,
Mhm.
this must be what modeling is like. And then fast forward, I went to college out of state in Louisiana, and the school had a natural hair pageant, and so that was like my first. I guess after that point where I felt like I was doing something modeling related because they had like a promo shoot for that, and they
Mhm.
had us draped in like purple fabric, like to look like Greek goddesses. And I remember they had like a promo shoot for that, and I was like really like scared to do it because I was shy. So I was like, oh my gosh, you come take pictures of me. So I went last because I was scared.
Mhm.
And I remember like as the lady was shooting the other girls, she was like really quiet, and I was like looking at how the other girls were posing, but I realized everybody was nervous. And then she got to me, and she's like, yes, yes. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's drawing attention to me. But I remember her like running across the room to show people the photos, and I was like, oh, okay. Um, and then after that point, once I left, because they kind of had to like shoot in like somebody's lobby or like
Mhm.
dorm in the college, whatever. And I got to the lobby, and I had a friend with a camera, and he was like, "Hey, Brittany, can I get some pictures of you since you're all dolled up?" And I'm like, "No, why would you want to do that?" But he convinced me. He took a couple pictures. Now that I look back on it, those were terrible because like fluorescent lighting never looks good on anyone,
Yeah,
especially
I don't
lighting.
even want to talk about my lighting right now, but I'm not
No, no,
gonna.
no, no, no. But like yellow lighting doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily compliment. But then after that, we had like a couple shoots around campus, and I had friends take pictures of me on their cell phones and stuff like that, and that was like the start.
Okay, so it was kind of like a natural progression from the end of high school, go down to Louisiana college, you
Mhm.
know, do a couple things, people were like, "Hey, you should get involved," and it just starts kind of flowing, right?
Mhm. Then
And
I had another friend. He was like, "Hey, you should try this." And once again, I was still like, "No."
mhm,
And I remember he like did some of the research to figure out like how to get ready for a casting call because he had seen something for like some runway show. Um,
mhm.
Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that.
No,
um,
you're good.
no, but long story short, I was terrified, and I was like, at the time, I was like, "Well, why would they pick me? I don't have anything going on because I didn't."
Mhm,
But I mean, it ended up being canceled. But that just taking the time to go pick out the outfit for it, like, to get the
mhm.
tank top and jeans and the heels and stuff, that was like, that made me feel motivated. And so we had like a mini shoot outside after because since I guess the rain canceled the event or the casting. So my friend took pictures of me and we pretended like we were having a photo shoot, and that like also helped like bring confidence.
Well, you didn't pretend. You had a photo shoot. You
With
took
a cell
photos.
phone.
Look, what I'm learning is it doesn't matter if whatever it is, no matter how you start, you should always go out and create content because I mean you're a perfect example. You never know where anything could lead. And so, it sounds like you did the best you could. You put your best foot forward.
It was awful.
And so a big thing I hear a lot from people in modeling or just any type of creative field is in the beginning, their nerves. And you kind of mentioned that, a little bit earlier. So how did you start to really, push yourself out of your comfort zone and, really pass that shell to be like, no, I can do this?
Well, at one point I made it so, okay, further on later on, I went home because I only stayed for a semester, and
Hmm.
I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I know what I oh I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it, so I had to keep doing research and figuring it out. And I eventually figured out that you have to collaborate and like get people to collaboratively work with you if you
Hmm.
can or pay. But I didn't have any money, so that wasn't an option. To at least get your portfolio started. But I mean, you don't need a physical portfolio, but just to have pictures to show that you've done something. Because if you don't have proof that you can do it, people are not going to even trust you. You're not going to be able to get anywhere.
Hmm.
Um, but whenever I was on shoots or even at music videos, I would make it a point to go talk to people. Like I was shy, but I was like, I have to meet everybody in this room. My goal, even if it's someone that's just doing, you don't
Hmm.
know, because I think a lot of times people are like, oh, that's just you don't know what people are doing. And not even just for the sake of what they can do. It's just, you don't know what relationships you can build through just talking to people. You see somebody across the room, oh, you don't know, like that person could be the next person to hire you for a job. You don't know. Quite a few other
That's so
talents
true.
have actually surprised me. They're like, "Hey, we need somebody that looks like you for this job. Are you interested?" And people will pass your name on if they like you. So, I mean, not saying that's the only reason, but it's another thing to keep in mind. It's like you don't want to be closed off to somebody just because you feel like they don't. That person could be quiet, but you don't know. But I made it a point to pretty much just talk to everybody in the room, say hi to everybody, get to know people. I know if there's 30 people, you kind of have to work your way around throughout the day. But that, and then as far as photo shoots, I kind of created like a persona. Like I had to pretend it wasn't me. Create somebody else that doesn't care about what's happening, like, and just get the job done. Whatever you're there for, do it to the best of your ability, even if you don't know how. Like, really don't ask questions as far as like how do I guess you can ask them what are you looking for, but you have to come in with confidence. You can't be like, oh, I don't know, because I've been on jobs where
That's true.
the people around me are like struggling to come up with poses, and I'm like, why are you getting paid to not know what you're doing? I think for any profession, if you're showing up to a job, you better, if you're getting paid, you have to be crushing it because it
Absolutely.
takes up
So, okay, so you kind of created your own little Sasha Fierce, persona that, when you're on set, you're able to like snap your finger and, you're no longer Brittany, you're somewhere else. You're something else. You're this superhero basically.
Yeah, because each of
And
these people are characters. So, like for example, if you're doing something commercial related, they're gonna want you to be like happy or pleasant,
mhm,
like whatever. Like you have to be whatever they're
mhm.
asking or what you think that it should be. But once again, if you're getting paid for it, you better be crushing it. Otherwise, they're gonna be mad that they spent that money on you. That's for any job. If you're hiring somebody to paint your house, and they like any service, if you're getting paid to do it or someone's getting paid to do it, they better be doing a great job at it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me turn my phone volume off. But I think one thing I don't want to get past is, you never know who you meet on set. I mean, now that I think about it, we met on set. We met on I forget his name, but it was a music video. I remember it was a music video. But then some years later, we're still here, we're still, connected. Um, you know, used to make moves in LA. I remember that as well. Shout out to the Willie Jones party, birthday
Oh yeah.
party.
Oh shoot, I forgot about that.
I know, it's crazy, right? That was such a great day. That was a lot of fun. So, you know, even going down memory lane, that's all in Los Angeles. And like you said, you were in Louisiana, then you went home. How did you transfer over to doing your thing in Los Angeles and making that jump?
Well, I mean, I wasn't doing much in Louisiana really. It just gave me like some motivation and confidence because like
Hmm.
typically Oh, I'm just gonna say where I was from initially, like people weren't really looking at people that were above medium complexion. Like if you were considered dark skin, people were like rare. So I think me going to
Mhm,
Louisiana gave me that confidence because they actually embrace like deeper complexions out there in certain areas.
mhm.
So people aren't focused on the superficial too. So that also gave me like natural confidence too. I know you're supposed to just have it, but like unfortunately sometimes people need to like experience somewhere else to get that. um, I came home and I was researching like how do I become a model? How do I do this? And so I had to keep looking up every one of my questions and reading all these articles and trying to figure it out because I think at the time YouTube didn't really have that many like videos related to what I was asking.
Mhm.
Like nothing really helpful. Or either that or I didn't think about it. Maybe I was just I don't know. But I learned that you could find. I mean, I think this was like 2015. So by then I realized you can search hashtags. So then I was like, okay, let me try to find like a makeup artist in my area. And so I was like going through all these hashtags, and this one lady kept popping up. So then I was like, okay, well maybe maybe she'll collaborate with me. She said no. But further down the line, she saw that I was like making effort. She was like, you know what? This girl looks like she's actually trying. So
Mhm,
she drove like 3 hours to come do my makeup collaboratively. And we didn't have a photographer or anything like that. We just got content on her phone.
mhm,
And further down the line, as I got like a job, I was able to like start hiring her for my shoots, and eventually I worked for her brand for a little bit, like as one of her models, and promoted
mhm.
her a lot, and then we became friends at the time. So that really helped because from other people seeing that one person was willing to work with me, that made other people be like, oh, she did a great job on her makeup. You know what? I think I want to do her makeup. So it took a while, but it's
Okay.
people have to have, I mean, you don't have to, but you either have to show people or people have to see somebody else that's of like, I guess,
You gotta get the ball rolling. You definitely have
yeah.
to go above and beyond to get the ball. And was this was in Louisiana at
No,
first?
this was in California.
Okay,
Palmdale,
so
Pastor.
okay, so yeah, so what I was saying at first is how did you, decide you wanted to go to Los Angeles? How did you make that transition? Were you just one day saying, I mean, I know I'm a model, so I'm just gonna pack up my bags and go to Los Angeles? Is that how it happened?
Didn't. So long story short, I had a friend. She knew something about modeling a little bit more than I did, and so I would
Mhm.
ask her questions and pick her brain. She connected me with some of the photographers that she knew, and so that helped a little
Okay.
bit. A couple other people found me through social media and were like, "Hey, you know what? Let's help you build your portfolio." Like, I remember a couple years ago, this wedding photographer reached out. We're friends now. He's cool. But at the time, I didn't know anything about finding like people to shoot with, but I had a good feeling. Sometimes you have to trust
Mhm.
your gut. I was like, you know what? I don't know this person. I don't have anybody to go with me to photo shoots because nobody was willing to. Like, I was even, yeah, nobody wanted to go anywhere with me. So I kind of had to just show up places by myself and hope it was going to be fine.
Mhm.
But there was a photographer that saw like my value for some reason because I had nothing going on at that time. But he was just like, hey, if you ever want to collaborate, I know some cool locations we could shoot at. And at the time, I wasn't allowed to model, so I kind of had to like sneak out the house and stuff to go to shoots, or like try to convince my parents that it was okay for me to go. And they're like, "Well, we don't know this person. Why are they willing to collaborate? I mean, why are they doing it for free?" And I'm like, "I don't have money." But it was funny, but it worked itself out. The pictures came out pretty decent for me not knowing what I was doing at all. He had
Mhm.
used no first time I did by myself. I take that back. So um, with that specific photographer, I think I was just trusting that I wasn't going to be in danger. Not like that because you're showing up with strangers. You don't know every single
Yeah,
shoot
absolutely.
that I go to. You don't know who you're meeting up with. I think at the time there was a like a music video casting that I had seen, and I was like, oh, let me see if I'm interested. If I could do it. I
Mhm.
remember at the time, like I knew to at least ask questions about what would be happening, and I remember it was like me and three other girls. Couldn't find that video. I'm looking for it.
Mhm.
But sorry, let me fast forward. Long story short, I was asking questions about where we were going to be, who was going to be there, and because I was asking questions, the guy was like, "Hey, you know what? I Because you're the only person asking questions, I will reveal to you who I am, so you at least know who you're talking to." Because most of the
Mhm.
girls were just like, "It's fine, I'll just show up." Like I like to at least, if I can, figure out who I'm going to be meeting with, just because it's
Mhm.
safety. Um, but anyways, long story short.
Absolutely.
Hmm?
No, I was saying absolutely.
Yeah, because just going anywhere, I was just going anywhere. But long story short, that specific photographer had gone. I asked because I didn't have anybody to go with me. I was like, hey, I'm going to, like, I'm gonna be honest, I've been to so many people's houses, you don't know. So I was like, hey, would you mind coming with me? Because I don't know who I'm meeting up with. And so then once, you know, the person appeared that I was supposed to be meeting with, I was like, okay, that's exactly who said they were corresponding with me. Okay, I'm good to go. But then after that, like, that built that trust, and then we shot together a couple of times. We did like a couple street photography shoots and stuff like that, and then we did a beach shoot. But you know, sometimes you have to ask people because you know what I mean. It's just in case, because you don't know.
Absolutely. And I think that's actually a great topic right there, which is balancing trying to create content, break into the industry, but as a woman being safe.
Yeah, because I
Because
nobody would go with me. Like now I have a boyfriend, so if I like need someone to go with me, I can. But at the time I didn't have
doubt him.
anybody.
Yeah.
So if I had to go sorry, if I had to go somewhere, I would just have to hope for the best because I didn't have an iPhone at the time, so I couldn't share location. I just would have to
hmm
tell somebody, hey, I'm gonna be going here. And at the time I was taking the train to get everywhere too. So that was like
Oh wow.
took
Yeah.
forever.
But it shows like kind of like the dedication that you had to your craft and your willingness to just like I'm gonna do what it takes to create some content so I can continue to build some momentum around what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to pursue.
But it's
Um,
also mindset too, because you have to
mhm,
decide that you're gonna figure it out because I didn't want to have like excuses. I just like made a way every single time. Like even if I didn't have the money, I was like, okay, let's scrape together some change to get on the train or something like that. So, you
mhm,
know, if you really want to do something, you will make it happen, even if you don't have anybody around you. Because I didn't have anybody supporting me really. I just
mhm.
had to like make it happen.
And now you're look at you now you're doing different sets all the time. You're doing commercial print. Um, when it comes to actually like breaking in to the industry, like it's one thing to create a bunch of content. It's another thing to know what you're doing professionally when it comes to getting an agent, knowing, where to be, knowing where to network, knowing how to act on set. So if someone is creating a lot of content right now, they have something to show, they're serious about being a model, they're serious about their craft, and they want to start breaking through. What would be some suggestions that you have
Well,
in
honestly,
doing
building
that?
relationships with people that are already in the industry, like makeup artists, are great because I've
Mhm,
had quite a few refer me for different jobs just because they enjoyed working with me. Building relationships with photographers. You know, if there's somebody you really want to work with and you feel like that person, I'm not saying like look at them for what they can do, but you can either try to collaborate with that person or if not hire them for their services because they're going to respect that too, and you can build a
mhm,
relationship with being, sometimes you just have to get around the right people, like not to be like, oh, I need to get by this person, but you have to be working with people that are already actively working, because if you click, then that could be good. Not saying for that reason, but that's also been a great thing. Like a lot of my jobs have been word of mouth. Some of them come through social media, some have come through agencies, but a lot of the stuff's been word of mouth, especially since prior to that.
So it's basically learning how to be more selective on the environments that you're putting
Mhm.
yourself in and the people you're collaborating once you've been
Mhm.
doing it for a while. That way, not that you're trying to necessarily, get something from this exact person, but if you're continuously putting yourself around professional and serious people, then there's an opportunity for this to not just be something great for right now, but to lead to something that is productive in the future for you.
Yeah, you have to be productive because a lot of the shoots that I started out with, those
Mhm,
wouldn't help me now, like at all. Like, but it did help
mhm,
build confidence as far as like learning how to be in front of a camera, learning what your angles are. I
mhm,
know a lot of people ask me, well, how do I pose? I'm like, well, it depends on your body type too. You have to pose for your body type. And
mm,
I learned that because I remember like some years ago, one of my photographers was like, hey, bring a friend with you so I could see how you pose with another person. And so I was trying to direct her on how to pose based off of what I knew at the time. But because she was
mhm,
curvier than me, my poses weren't working for her. Because for me, I might have to jet my hip out. or angle myself in a way to look more curvaceous. But for somebody that is curvaceous, they'd have to, come up with different poses based off of that. I think the best way is to find people that are already actively working that are built like that person to
Okay.
to look at examples for poses, because what I may do may not work for that person just because like of how
Absolutely.
you're shaped and stuff like that. So that's also super important. Honestly, just being prepared. You can ask questions as far as like being prepared for something. I feel like if you ask questions and someone gets mad at you, then that's probably not something you should be part of, because they should be willing to answer your questions. Like, what should
Okay.
I bring for this? Should I, if you're asking questions and people get mad, that's a problem. If they don't want you to, like, that's another thing. I know as far as like bringing people, that's also tough too, because they don't want anybody to be disruptive for whatever you're doing. Obviously, if you're meeting up with somebody one on one, bring a friend if you can, or bring somebody that's not going to be disruptive in the sense like they're going to be, hey, what are you doing? Like, like interrupting the shoot or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's something with a full production team, typically you don't need to bring anybody, because then they're just going to be in the way.
Absolutely.
So it's just.
No, go ahead.
Oh
You
no,
sound like
that's pretty much it. Just be safe.
absolutely. And so one thing you mentioned a little earlier today was, potentially connecting with people through social media as well. What has social media meant to you when it comes to your career?
Wait, what is it? Can you repeat the question?
I said, what does social media mean to you when it comes to your career, developing your brand, establishing yourself?
Well, first of all, social media is so important. I think a lot of people on social media that are trying to get like, okay, so for example, there's quite a few people that are like, hey, I want to become a model, I want to connect with people, but they aren't willing to show people love either. You have to have a community. I know a lot of people want fans and stuff like that, and they don't think that engaging with people and showing other people love, responding to comments, returning the love that people are giving to you is important.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes a huge difference, because I have quite a few people that I've built relationships with on social media, and they've gotten me jobs from like New York or from Texas, and vice versa. I've been able to like send them opportunities and stuff. So it's important to build relationships, because there's too many people that are like, oh, well, I don't know them, I don't want to go like their stuff. Well, they're not like, you don't know. You really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Instagram friend that I met from like Kansas, which I didn't even think that we connected through like, love of modeling. She told me about a Sports Illustrated event in LA. I didn't even know, and I'm in LA. So like you want to build relationships with people, but not just who you think can do stuff, but like people with similar interests, and actually genuinely engage with people, because there's so many people like in other places that are constantly sending me things that they see that they think I'd be good for, and vice versa. But
Okay.
you do have to build relationships. And also when it comes to like, for example, content creation, brands look at your relationships with people. So if people aren't engaging with your content, they're gonna be like, oh, that person doesn't really seem to have a good community. You have to
So,
engage with people.
so basically, being able to show on social media that you have a community around you is huge when it comes to your viability for different jobs and projects.
Mhm. Well, even okay, so for example, for modeling, I remember like probably a couple years. Well, something I've heard over and over again is there's a lot of people that say thank you to me for always crediting my team. Whatever,
Mm-hmm.
if I can find the name. Sometimes I don't know who it is, and I don't even know who to contact to get the information. But if I do like a test shoot or something with a smaller team, I'm able to find the names of who's involved and credit them, because there's a lot of people that just don't want to credit people. Typically, the only time I won't credit is if I had like a bad experience with somebody, or they don't want to be tagged,
Mm-hmm.
which
That happens,
happens every
yeah.
once in a while. But for the most part, I pretty much credit every single person that I work with if I can, just
Mm-hmm.
because you want to credit people for their work. They're gonna remember, hey, I've had people from like 4 years ago be like, oh my god, hey, I have a job for you, and thank you for always crediting me. It's shocking. Like people that I haven't spoken to in forever, like have reached out and offered me opportunities just because I've built that relationship, and I'm always, you know, I believe in
Showing
crediting
love.
work.
Absolutely.
It's
And
crazy.
I think
People I've only
it
spoken
goes,
to once.
yeah, I think it goes back to the saying, people will forget what you say, they'll forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel.
Exactly.
and being able to show people love, and especially you will forget what you say and forget what you do. But if you can be someone who, you know, has good character and is, you know, a stand-up person in everything that you do, I think that does, you know, shine through in the long term on, you know, being able to create more opportunities for yourself. And so we have the relationship side of social media. There's the other side, which is the content production. And the thing that really just blows me away about you from the day we've met is the sheer volume of content that you just crank out. And, you know, and it's quality. And so what is it, like a lot of people say social media is like another second job.
It is.
So what is your process of creating content for social media, knowing what you want to post to represent yourself, knowing what you want to be, how you want to present your brand, and just like you're a monster. So I'm just here to just listen on just your overall process.
Thank you. Honestly, there's no process. It's kind of random, but as far as content purposes, like if I'm going out, I try to always get content. Like if I'm at a restaurant or if I'm eating, I try to always get content of that because I feel like on TikTok people like more of the personal side, so I post all that stuff. On Instagram is obviously more professional stuff, but there's really no like, yeah, there's no process. Pretty much, it's just try to keep quality, make sure there's good lighting. If you don't have lighting equipment, the sun's free. No, I'm serious.
No, absolutely.
There's really no excuses. If you want to do something, you'll do it. Like, I keep bringing up content creation because that actually, you can make good money, like even better money than modeling with content creation. Like, companies have budgets to hire people to do stuff. Like, it's just you have to be consistent with what you want to do. So if you decide, you know what, I want to start getting paid to travel, start traveling, put that content out. If you want to get paid to post makeup stuff, I took like a couple years of just posting stuff that I purchased online. I mean, at like Target and Walmart and stuff, and just did videos. They weren't good, but eventually brands reached out and started paying me to post for them. So you kind of just have to just do it. Look,
absolutely.
Save examples and just do it.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's something I agree with completely. The most important thing is I always say is to start, even if it doesn't always look the best, because over time you can always improve. But getting in that rhythm is super important. And I love how you said having clarity on, you know, what you want to be known for and everything like that, because I think that's super impactful as well. Like it's crazy. I'm so proud because what are you at like now on TikTok? I think you're at like 40 something now, right? Is that about correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're at 40. I think I can see with the volume that you post, you shooting up to like 100, pretty much within like a year. I may be wrong, but I was right about telling you to go on TikTok if you remember that. So
Sorry.
no, you're fine. Sometimes you gotta do that. But yeah, I think I can easily see you hitting 100 with the volume that you post on TikTok. Super proud of you for actually just doing it from, you know, when that opportunity to hop on that trend and get that base following was available as well.
Thank you. You know, it's been a helpful platform because the amount of brands that have reached out to send me products just based off of like the random videos that I put out has been really good. Like, it's just, you really just have to do it. Like, anybody can do it. It's just a matter of you have to be consistent. Like, I am constantly shoveling out stuff, whether it's older or newer, whenever, because TikTok likes the volume. So like, let's say I post 30 videos. Obviously that sounds like too much. Eventually one of them's going to do really well. And then that pushes the views to the other videos and stuff. And then sometimes people will come and follow me on Instagram or follow me on YouTube based off of something that they saw that they liked.
And are you talking about 30 videos and what time period?
I'm just posting.
You don't even care. You're just like, we're just going to post and we're posting everything.
Yes, lately what I've been finding is if I post late at night, I wake up and like a video might do pretty well. So it's like kind of
Okay,
random. I think it's because a lot of
interesting.
people on my page are from other states. So if they're just waking up or they're getting ready their kids for school or getting ready for work, people are online and stuff like that.
Okay, awesome. And what would you say, I guess my last, social media question I have is what would you say is the most helpful platform that you have currently when it
TikTok.
comes to your overall career?
TikTok's been good. I mean, Instagram's okay. So Instagram gets me modeling jobs because people are looking for people through hashtags and stuff like that, or looking through people's profiles.
Hmm.
TikTok is more of my content creation jobs and stuff like that. Just
Okay,
because that's where I post most of my like casual or product unboxings and stuff like that.
got you. So Instagram's kind of like your resume
Mhm.
per se, and then TikTok's more of your creator brand where you're just, you know, going to the gas station and getting stuff for people. Um, that's an inside joke right there. But no, I feel you. That's actually that's clarifying for me as well. So I appreciate the insight. And so one thing we were kind of talking about earlier before we hopped on was, you know, how life has kind of been a blur coming out of COVID.
Mhm.
So what would you say like the impact of COVID had on like your career coming out of COVID? What's the difference between the industry now pre-COVID and post-COVID
Well, I
overall?
feel like it's been harder because I have to actually write stuff down now, and I've picked up more different
Hmm.
streams of income to do just to like fill time. But I half the time I don't know what day it is. I have to look, check my phone, double check, and go
Hmm.
back and look and make sure I'm like, what was I supposed to be doing today?
Yeah.
Because like yesterday I thought it was Monday for today, and then I was like, wait, no, what I have to do that I thought I had to do today was actually tomorrow.
Hmm. No,
So
that's how it gets. Like sometimes life, like if you're just hustling, life just blurs together, and you're like balancing it. One day we'll get virtual assistants, and
yeah,
have a.
I got organized last night because another thing that's kind of overwhelming is sometimes people will send like a lot of items at once and then have to figure out different ways to store it.
Wait, say that again. That went over my head a
Oh,
little
like
bit.
if people send products and I have to figure out where I can store those items because
Mm.
let's say, I don't know, you're a gamer, right?
No, I'm not a gamer. My brother's a big gamer. So he's actually gonna be doing gaming for Cloud Finder soon.
Okay, well, how about this? Let's say, what do you collect? Or you don't collect anything,
I collect let's say NFTs.
but no physical
All
anything.
right, physical. I collect coins.
Okay, what if someone sent you tons of coins every time something new released, a new coin,
Hmm.
and then you have to figure out where to put it? You don't have enough space, but people keep sending stuff. So
So now
teaching
you
you
gotta get
organization.
organized, and you gotta figure out, when you're gonna post everything and who you're gonna tag, and it becomes a lot. I'm sure.
It is. Well, also like sometimes people will gift something and then they're like, "So did you get it up yet?" I'm like, "Okay, you and 30 other people just sent products, so it's like
Hmm.
order of what was received and then what was paid and what wasn't, stuff like that
Hmm.
too." But everybody wants their stuff posted right then and there, so that's why sometimes I'll just post like 10 things at once because I'm like, "Okay, you guys want it? When you want it post?"
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you choose which brand you want to work with and which ones you're like, you don't
It
really
depends.
represent me?
It depends on like for example, sometimes like brands will offer payment for stuff, and sometimes if they're like smaller brands they may not have a budget, but also it depends on like, do you support me too? Because if I'm going to be bringing you business or um
Hmm.
promoting your stuff, or but also I don't let people have like guidelines, like 'cause sometimes people will have like 15 things they want but it's just gifted. I'm like, I can't do that because it's a lot of time that goes
Yeah.
into that
Yeah.
too,
You're
so
like,
it
that was, you're asking for free promotion and you're trying to
have
have me
guidelines.
work harder than my paid promotion.
Yes. So it just depends. Like it depends on how I feel and if it makes sense. But if it's like we want like 4 videos, 10 pictures and all that, and we're just giving it to you and that's it, like it doesn't, it just really depends on if it's something I can use. Like if it's cosmetics, sometimes I could use more makeup, but it just
Hmm.
really depends on what it is.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So I guess the last more serious question I have is kind of circling back to the beginning where you're telling me that print and commercial makes more, runway doesn't really do it for you. So like, can you break down like the industry, like, so what are the different lanes of modeling? What are the ones, why do you gravitate most of the ones you do? Which ones would you like to do more? And what would you say are the overall advantages of each like lane?
Okay, so I started out, I guess, with more fashion stuff and then eventually more beauty. There's tons
Mhm,
of different lanes because there's people that could do installation modeling where, let's say, there's like a convention and they need a live model on top of
mhm.
something. There's stores that sometimes need a live model to fit the clothing too. So there's fit modeling, there's
I've done
parts
that before.
modeling. You can
Yeah.
get paid to just have your hands holding something,
Mhm,
like, I don't know, a soda or juice or candle. There's jewelry modeling, which I technically can be like beauty. I guess it depends on the company. There's
mhm,
e-com for like website stuff. So like, there's a lot of like fashion brands in LA, obviously. So that's another
mhm,
thing. There's fitness and active modeling, or fitness is like activewear. I've done a couple fitness things too.
mhm,
um, there's hair modeling, like if someone has a hair company,
mhm.
um, or they have like hair products. Really, anything you can think of that you can purchase from a store or online, a lot of those companies need models for that. So there's a lot of different categories.
Okay, got you, got you.
Um,
And
oh,
oh,
sorry.
go ahead. No, it seems
I
like you
don't
had
do
something
runway
else.
because a lot of times when people are asking, it's like they want you to be there for 8 hours and they're not paying you. If you're signed for runway, then that's different. Then they probably do have a budget for that. But if a
Mhm.
designer's like, "Hey, I'd love for you to walk for me," you're gonna be there for 8 hours and you're not getting paid. You probably won't get fed. Like there's very few shows that actually feed people.
Wow,
They expect you
really?
to just be there all day. I guess it depends on the company, but I feel like a lot of the productions I've done, they'll have
See,
like
they
a
gotta
like
have the
really nice.
crafty though.
Hmm?
You gotta
Nothing, not even chips. Like I had one thing I did in New York, and the guy was like, "No snacks." I'm like, well, dang. Well, if we're here, we have to eat something. So it depends on
mhm,
the production too. But for me at this point, I guess if it was a major show, like if it's like Easy or something, I've worked with him a couple or once. I guess it depends. They feed people, which I like. Their castings, they had food on the table. So it depends on the company. But, a lot of these companies don't feed people. They don't feed you and they don't pay you. And you're just supposed to just be happy to be there. And I guess if it was a big enough production, then maybe I'll bring some snacks and go. But a lot of these like random shows that they have at the same time.
mhm.
So for example, like they'll say LA Fashion Week and then there's another production that's not the actual official stuff that would be posted on that page. It's something entirely different. They're like, we're part of LA Fashion Week. And I'm like, LA Fashion Week's over here. Who are you guys? So there's a lot of stuff that's related or not even related that they say that they're related to it and they're not. And
They're just
people
using
spend
the
all
name
day.
for the branding, yeah.
Yeah, but that's a waste of time because half that stuff doesn't lead to anything. I don't typically do those. I mean, it depends. Like if there's a couple designers that like if it's a good venue, then and I know I'm gonna get content, then yes. Or if it's someone I've already worked with who's already hired me for my services, then yes.
Mhm.
But
Or
as
you
far
go
as
back to when you're just starting out and you're trying to just build that
it's
confidence
useless,
and
I'm gonna be honest, like none of that ever got me jobs. Like none of the people that I've met at
mm,
runway shows ever led to paid opportunities. It's kind of just like I guess to build followers, if anything. But then a lot of
mhm.
those people didn't even engage with me years later. So they just kind of just sit there and just watch what you have going on or ignore you. So I feel like runway doesn't really because it doesn't lead to other people. I mean, every once in a while, I guess, because okay, sorry. For a lot of these shows, like sometimes they'll have students doing the makeup, and those people are
Mhm.
still learning how to do makeup on my complexion and stuff like that. Like my first swim week show, I looked terrible because the people that did my makeup didn't know how to do my complexion. So I'm like gray and have a whole bunch of
That's
colors
it.
going on.
Yeah, that's a huge thing in the industry, just overall. I've had
So
many actress friend tell me that they didn't know how to do their makeup either. But we'll get there
right.
eventually, hopefully.
The thing
Um,
is, it's not hard though. And I say this because now I'm working in cosmetics and I've been learning how to color match people. And I've been able to grab different people that don't look like me, and I've been able to properly match them with their color. So it's people not trying. It's not hard. You can eyeball it and try to figure it out. If you're not sure, say you don't know. But just sending people off looking bad's not.
Okay. So, final question.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, absolutely. I appreciate you so much. What are your three favorite campaigns that you've ever done, and what are three campaigns, ideal dream campaigns that you would love to do?
Top three have been Sephora, Nude Sugar by Toni Braxton, and Alphalete, this activewear company in Texas.
What was the third one?
Alphalete.
Alphalete. Okay, so those were your three favorite that you've already done. Why those three, if you don't mind me
Well,
asking?
Sephora was cool because it was in every state, so people like in
National campaign. Okay.
yeah, people in other states and other countries, people in Brazil and Canada were sending it to me and saying, "Oh my gosh, I saw you at my store now." So I thought that was cool. Nude Sugar was cool because like I think most of us grew up listening to Toni Braxton, so she's really sweet, and she just had a really good attitude. She wasn't diva-like. She wasn't disrespectful. She was actually, you could tell she was passionate about her company, which I think is always a good thing when people really love what they do and like being hands-on, because a lot of people just hire a team and they're not there. But the fact that she was there and she was actually like adjusting the products in our hands and, she was there like being hands-on, and I respect that. Alphalete was cool because that was the first time I ever got like I guess like a poster in a store other than Sephora. Sephora's cool, but like I've done a lot of beauty, so that was the first time like it's kind of tall. So that was cool.
That's awesome. And then what are your three ideal, no limits. This could be anything. You can do any campaign, any type of modeling, work with anyone you want. What are three campaigns you would want to do?
I think first, I just want something in Times Square. Like I've had stuff in stores in Times Square, but not on the screen. So
you want to be on the billboard in Times Square. Yeah.
That's one thing. And then maybe Givenchy. Now that I'm on the corporate side, I think it'd be cool to be one of their models for that.
So, wait, what was that brand one more time? Givenchy? Okay, awesome.
Also, Maybelline would be cool. And CoverGirl.
Maybelline, CoverGirl, Givenchy, and Times Square.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
thank you.
I'm not gonna hold you too long, Brittany. I'm very grateful to have you come in, speak with us. For anyone who wants to, discover more about you or, see some of your work, where would you suggest that they go?
My portfolio work is on Instagram at Brittany S Mason. My content creation and lifestyle stuff's on TikTok. And then YouTube, I'm going to start posting more talking videos about different questions that people have asked. So
Awesome. So yeah, definitely keep us, up to date on everything you're doing. Would love to, consider you family. And then I don't know if you're into, the Web3 world too deeply, but if you are ever interested, one thing I would love to do is gift you one of our NFTs and some clout coin. If you need some help, setting up a wallet, I can definitely walk you through that. And go a little deeper into like the educational side of crypto a little bit as well. And love to have you in the community.
I have to figure that out.
But I got you.
It's a lot more time that needs to be taken to learn about it.
It's honestly not as difficult as it's always just like with anything, if you don't have anybody to tell you, point you in the right direction, then it will take some time, not gonna lie. But the 1, 2, 3s are not as complicated as people think. It's just that this is a new technology. And one day, just to kind of put this on your radar, and why I think all creatives need to be paying attention to what's going on in Web3, is that this is going to be such an integral part of the creator economy. And so one day creators are going to be putting out their own NFTs. They're going to be having their own tokens whether it's to get access to like maybe live video with them, or there's so many interesting things that you're going to be able to do around this, and it's going to be a new tool in our tool belt that just makes us that much more powerful. So we'll happily, you know, give you a foundation. It shouldn't take more than like 15 minutes. And, you know, we'd love, like I said, love to have you in the community if you want to come the Web3 way. And either way, your family, and, you know, we're here to support you any way we can. So appreciate you coming out, Brittany. Just sending a lot of love to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So we're gonna end this broadcast. Brittany, stay on for a little bit, you know, longer. But like once again, thank you for hopping on, and have a great day, everyone.